This conference will now be recorded.
So I just wanted to try. Some of you can, or all of you can unmute and see if you can follow the kirtan. After I sing, you can sing. Okay, just try. So if it is creating a problem and it's really not audible, or it's then we can mute. Everybody can mute. Okay. We have a few more minutes to go, so let's wait. Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine. Can you sing this pranam mantra? Some of you, or shall I share the screen?
Yeah, share the screen, Prabhu.
I have it in Telugu. Okay, I'll share it in Telugu. So those who can follow Telugu, please follow. Okay. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine. Everybody can follow me. Namah Om Vishnu
Padaya.
Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale
Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminithe
Niti Namine
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Everybody Namaste
Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani
Pracharine
Nirvishesha
Shesha Shunyavadi Pachatya
Paschatya
Deshatarine
Jai Shri Krishna
बंद कर दी तो मैं बाहर आया तो
कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण
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 कृष्ण हरे हरे
Oh, okay, we will.
हरे राम
Okay.
हरे राम राम
राम
राम
राम हरे हरे
Okay. So there is a lot of echo coming because of multiple piece, like devotees singing. So I would request one of the Matajis, only one Mataji to sing now. Okay, just follow after me. Okay, one Mataji, if she can. Any one of you, like Usha Mataji or Pramila Mataji, let's try because your voice is good. So if you are there, please come for one of you.
हरे राम राम
Mataji,
हरे
you need to
हरे
wait. I will sing. Kirtan means once the lead singer sings, after that you have to follow. That is what Kirtan is. Okay. So I will sing the same tune. Try to get it. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sing Mataji.
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय गोविंद
Govinda Jai, Krishna Chaitanya Jai.
गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय
Govinda Jai Jai, Gopal Jai Jai.
राधा रमन हरि गोविंद जय राधा
Radha Hare Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे
Hare Krishna,
हरे राम 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 हरे हरे one last time
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहितं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादां श्री रघुनाथान्वितं श्रीराधाकृष्ण पादां सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं तत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानंद माधवम् हरे कृष्णा to everyone.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So
Hare Krishna.
thank you Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So what we have discussed yesterday, let's quickly go through that once and then we will go ahead with our rest of the things. Okay. So yesterday we discussed that the root cause for Arjuna's problem was that one is he had a material compassion. Material compassion meaning he was seeing at a body platform level only. So for that reason he was lamenting all the time. Okay. So let me see if I. So 1 second. Yes, I have this problem. Okay. So one is that he had a material conception of life and material compassion was there, and that is one of the primary root cause or the reasons for which Arjuna was lamenting unnecessarily, which is the kind of a quality of a Shudra. Because if you are lamenting unnecessarily, which is not required, that is the kind of a quality of a Shudra. It is not a quality of the other like whether it is Brahmana or Kshatriya or Vaishya, you are considered to be in the category of Shudra if you are unnecessarily lamenting. Okay, that is one of the things that has happened to Arjuna here. Okay, and he was, and due to this, what happened is that he is unable to discharge his duty. So they, for each and every what do you say, every person, he has got a specific duty to perform. In terms of varnashrama also you have a duty, and at the same time as a person you have a duty, and which he is unable to discharge. So that is another problem. The finally he has agreed that there is the problem with him is that karpanya dosha. So there is ignorance of the real self is what has happened to him, and that ignorance has led him to for all these problems, and he has agreed for it, and he is taken the shelter of Shri Krishna, and submitting himself as a disciple, and requesting Krishna to accept him as a disciple, and in certain give him what is best to for him to do. So that is where we ended yesterday. And we also have seen that what is the role of a guru, and in the first part where we have mentioned that Bhagwan, so Shri Krishna is addressed as Bhagwan. Bhagwan meaning this, Bhagwan means is somebody who has so 6 opulences in one way. That is what Parashara Muni says. Ete chamsa kalaha pumsa Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indriyadi Vyakulam Lokam Mrudayanti Yuge Yuge. It here Parashar Muni is saying that Sri Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. Okay, because from Shastric perspective also it is mentioned that Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, and also it is mentioned in Brahma Samhita. Brahma has mentioned that Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adhir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So here in Brahma Samhita also Brahma is saying that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. So one should not have any doubt. Why we said this? Because if somebody comes and says there are so many people in the world around that you see currently also, but they kind of proclaim themselves as they are Bhagavan. There are a few people who will also say that I am a Kalki Bhagwan. And in Tamil Nadu somewhere you will find that there is a person who proclaims himself as the Kalki Bhagwan, because in Shastra it is mentioned that by end of the Kali Yuga, the God will come as Kalki Avatara, and he will take care of the entire universe to do whatever. So since it is mentioned in the Shastra, this person has taken that advantage and he says that I am that Kalki Bhagwan, who is mentioned in the Shastra. And for touching his feet also he charges like 25,000 or like that. That's what people were saying. So but to fool people, there are so many things that one can do, but you should be careful enough to understand who is Bhagwan. Bhagwan has to, if you are saying somebody is a Bhagwan, you should really go through Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Your current Guru is saying that Krishna, or somebody who is proclaiming himself as Bhagwan, is he mentioned there by the Guru? And what about Sadhus? Like here Parashar Muni is saying Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Is Shastra also saying? And if you see in the entire Bhagavatam is about Krishna only. So the Shastra and all the Vedas, they say that Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. So Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan. So there is no doubt about it. Okay, Lord Krishna, first and end of the day, and if you see in Bhagavad Gita also, here it is meant, it's not said as Krishna Vacha, it's said Sri Bhagavan Vacha. So that means there should not be any confusion with anybody that who is Bhagwan. Sri Krishna is the Bhagwan, and not that in Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna says, "I am Bhagwan." So now he himself has said that. So if you take any other religion, say for instance Christianity, or for instance Islam, no, they have never said that Jesus Christ is God. They said he is the son of God, and the offshoot of Christianity is Islam. So they also are on the same page. So they say Allah is there. Muhammad is a prophet. That means he is the messenger of God. So similarly, Jesus Christ was messenger of God. So here in our Bhagavad Gita, directly Krishna is saying that I am the Supreme Lord. So and he has given all the proofs about all that. So that's what. And now Lord Krishna did not approve the so-called compassion of Arjuna. Arjuna had so much compassion towards his relatives, saying that how can I kill the guru who has taught me. Guru is supposed to be the representation of God, so how can I kill him? And my grandfather Bhishma, he's so dear to me, how can I kill him? And similarly all my other brothers, though they are cousin brothers, but still they are brothers, how can I kill all of them? So he is in a, but now Lord Krishna has disapproved all this compassion what Arjuna is showing towards his kinsmen, because it's all material compassion, and he is lamenting like a Shudra. So that's what. And he has really scolded like anything, left and right. He said you are not only acting like a Anaryan, that means not like a person who is educated, and he said you are like acting like a Shudra, and so many things. And he said you are like a Napunsakat also, because you are just afraid of fighting, and that's the reason why you are leaving. Then again he counters, Arjuna counters that no, Krishna, I am not interested to go back from leave the war or battlefield just because of that reason. How would you counter when you are supposed to kill your Sandipani Muni, who is your guru? Will you go and because he was giving that example, because he did not say it directly, but he mentioned that Madhusudana. When he addressed Madhusudana, the name Madhusudana, Krishna got that name because he killed a demon called Madhu. So he is giving that example and saying that indirectly, will you suppose there is an elderly person, say your grandfather is there, and will you kill him? And if your guru is there, will you kill him? So he is kind of posing in that way, and finally he submitted saying that now I cannot make the decision, so please guide me. So that's where we ended yesterday. So let's go ahead and do the rest of the things what need to be done today. So today we will be discussing about the identity part in Gita acronym. Let me show the screen. Okay, so this is what we have discussed yesterday. He's asking for guidance and enlighten him because he's in a miserable condition, and that's where Krishna comes in, and he provides all the guidance whatever is required. Okay. There is like a bit of sync problem. Just give me a second. So I have already sent you one particular Vaishnava songs book. So if time permits, we will sing that Samsara Daba and understand 2 of the important paragraphs from there. Okay. Okay. So here we have seen that the Guru part. Sorry. Okay, so this is all over. Karpanya dosha. Now the absolute little bit of this chapter is more towards theory. Theory in the sense, a lot of ideas, like a lot of knowledge is what will be shared, because it is summary of everything. It is so. Bear with me if it is too much of information that is come to you. So here the absolute truth realization, that is the supreme Bhagwan realization, can be happening at 3 levels. Okay, one is that at a Brahman level. That means what you understand from Brahman is that it's basically all pervading spirit. so in all the jivas that is there, animate and inanimate, the Brahman, the energy is there. So wherever the energy is there, Supreme Lord is there in that. Okay, that is what in one way you see that the modern invention, what they have concluded, the God particle in one way is saying that. Not exactly the same, but they have invented something called God particle. So they are saying that the source of everything at a minute level is also the Brahman, the energy, that is God particle. That's what is mentioned here. And the next level understanding is that the localized form of Paramatma. So each and every person, there is a localized form of God representing here. That is called Paramatma. So in yourself there is Atma and Paramatma. Paramatma is the Supreme Lord who is also there with you. So we'll discuss more in detail when we go to the rest of the chapters. We'll just touch upon the subject. And the ultimately the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Bhagwan form is also there. So understanding the absolute truth can be done at three different levels. One is that at a Brahman level, the second is that a Paramatma level, the last one is that a Bhagwan level. So this is compared with the basically with an example called the sunshine is compared at the Brahman level. If you see sunshine that is coming, so it is all pervading. So if you have the sunlight, it pervades everywhere. So that is called Brahman. So the example for Brahman is the sunshine. And if you see the Paramatma, a localized aspect of the Supreme Lord within the heart of all living entities. The sun surface or sun disk is compared with the Paramatma understanding. Paramatma. Okay, sun disk. And the sun planet itself is basically the Bhagwan characterization. It might be a little confusing, may not be able to comprehend that much, but bear with me. Slowly this will be revealed. Okay, so the people who have realized at the Bhagwan level are basically bhaktas. So there are a lot of, if you see, there are a lot of people and lot of other organizations, they go at only one level. So they say that yes, the impersonal Brahman level only they can go. They cannot get the conception that Bhagavan Sri Krishna has got a form. So that they cannot comprehend, in the sense that depending upon it is basically different category of people based on their understanding level. So they can reach to the ultimate level, which is Bhagavan level. That is what the bhaktas should aspire, and they will go there. Okay, so the identity part, the Gita, the second acronym, identity. So Krishna begins by teaching Arjuna the most fundamental understanding of spiritual life. This is where we are all starting. Okay, so because if till now Arjuna was with on what platform? Anybody?
Material.
Friend.
Yeah, so he was on the material platform or bodily platform. Now Krishna is giving the spiritual knowledge. Now it is starting from here. So he is trying to give him what is your real identity. Okay, so it is basically the Guru is imparting the knowledge of who we really are. So that is what he is trying to explain, who we really are, what is our true identity. Okay, so while it might be very elementary and basic, but this wisdom is very important for all of us, for our true realization. So because you need to identify our true identity need to be known. So this information is very important. Okay, and there is an eternal question which we also addressed in our DYS classes: who am I? So that is very important. But once you understand who am I, that is your true identity, then you do not have any misconception, or it is very easy for you to take decisions in life. Okay, so that's what he is mentioning here. Although the living so here it is also mentioned that as the driver operates a car or a bird lives in a cage, we the spirit soul are similarly utilizing this body. Okay, so most of you have seen the example. If somebody says they are representing the eye, what is it? This is my eye. You say idi na kannu, idi na cheyi. You don't say that cheyi nenu. You don't say that this hand is me. You say that this ee cheyi nadi. This hand belongs to me. This is my eye, my eye. But who is you? That is what we need to identify. Okay. And we have also seen earlier that if somebody dies, we say that he is gone. ఆయన చనిపోయాడు, ఓ మర గయా. So the gaya, gone, వెళ్ళిపోయాడు, చనిపోయాడు, where what has gone is what is really the thing that we are discussing now. No, because the body is there only, nothing has changed. So what is something that has left? That is what is the spirit soul that we are talking about. Although the living within the body, we are simultaneously different from it, temporarily operating it for to perform activities, fulfill our desires, and interact with the world around us. So this is we are using this temporary body, the body which is temporary, and also using it for temporarily to perform certain activities to fulfill our desires and interact with the world around us. Because to interact with the world around us, you need a body. So that is the reason why we are doing that. Until we realize our true identity as spirit soul, we undergo the process of reincarnation, accepting unnatural material bodies and subsequent suffering and distress of life in this material world. Okay, so we undergo the process of reincarnation. Reincarnation meaning you might take what kind of body in the next life? Anybody?
Depending upon our karmas, our next soul will be, I mean, the body is taken.
Okay.
Depending upon our karmas.
Okay, very good. Who is the other person who was speaking?
Prabhuji, myself. I think one is karma. Second is whatever you keep thinking in the last moment of your life when you leave, you probably attain that kind of body in the next.
Right. Okay. So yeah, that's correct. So basically, reincarnation here meaning that you will take the next body or next life, you will be given a body which suits your whatever thoughts you have while leaving at the time of leaving. Oh, actually, whatever at the time of death, whatever thoughts you have, based on that it will come. But when you are leaving, the thoughts of whatever will come in the end will be based on whatever activities that you have done so far in your life. So there is not much of a difference. Okay, that's one thing. The other thing is that you have 84 lakh species. So in this entire material life, you have 84 lakhs different types of species. So you may take any of the species, the body that you may get. So that one should be careful. You may not get a human form also, because and again in human form there are only 4 lakh human form species are there. So you, based on your desire, again your desire, your whatever you have in your while at the time of death, all this will decide. If you are thinking only of the Supreme Lord, obviously you will go to the Supreme Lord's abode. So that is what each one of us will aspire doing ideally, but it all depends. Okay, so here Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Shri Krishna is speaking here. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha asocyan anvasochatvam prajna vadansha bhashase gatansun agadansuncha nanu sochanti pandita. Here he is saying that the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, while speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Now he started, Shri Krishna started kind of giving all this knowledge to identify his to give identity. Who is he, who am I, is the concept that he is trying to give. So he's saying that do not lament. A person who is learned but will not lament for the person who is dead or for the living. So he will not, lamenting is not your true characteristic. That's what he's saying here. Okay. Natvevaham jatu nasam natve neme janadipa nachaiva na bhavishyamaha sarve vayam atah param. Never was there a time when I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in future shall any of us cease to be. So here he is mentioning that this material body is temporary, but what is permanent? The spirit soul is always permanent. And he kind of describes what is the characteristics of the soul and what is the size of the soul, where does the soul stay in your body, that also he is going to mention down the line. Okay. देहिनोऽस्मिन् यदा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा तथा देहांतर प्राप्तिर धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यते. As an embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Okay. So do you have any doubt or concern to discuss more on this? Anything that you wanted to ask? I can go ahead and explain you if you have any concern or any questions. Yeah. What do you understand from here?
Prabhu, not about this, but one general doubt can I ask?
Yeah, go ahead. Definitely.
Yeah, see, Prabhuji, while we discussing, we said, first 6 chapters or 5 chapters are about Karma Yoga, then Bhakti Yoga, then Jnana Yoga, right, Prabhuji?
Right. Okay.
But in Bhagavad Gita Index, it is written as Jnana Yoga. Why it is so like that? 6th chapter is written in ISKCON or Bhagavad Gita. Chapter number 6, it is written as Dhyana Yoga. Then
these are we have given it into broad categories. So this first category Karma Yoga, again say Bhakti Yoga, then Jnana Yoga. So these are broad categories. Then see, in karma only, in Karma Yoga you can also do Bhakti Yoga also. Bhakti you can also do in karma. So there also, but the emphasis is more on karma. So that's what when we come there, we'll see. Next chapter is Karma Yoga, right? So after this is done, we'll start with Karma Yoga. So that's where we'll discuss. Good point, Prabhu. We'll discuss that there. Okay. Any other question before we go and take a few other things? I know I'm doing more of a theoretical one now, but we will discuss more in detail once I complete this 1 or 2 slokas. Okay. Matra Sparshas to count. Yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
Prabhuji, in one line, Bhagwan says, you and me have taken so many births, but you forgot, but I know. So I want to know, like, we people have so many words he want to say, and Arjun has taken the birth with God only.
Okay, what
I
is your
some confusion.
Now, what is your doubt, Mataji?
My doubt is, as God told, you and me have taken lot many births, but you forgot. Yes. I remember all that.
Right.
So I want to know, like, Arjuna has the birth with God in so many births. Like in Mahabharata, Arjuna is with Krishna. As Krishna say ki they have taken lot many births. So he is with him.
Okay. So basically what you are saying, I understand, Mataji. So what you are saying is that Arjuna and Krishna here mentions that the previous births, whatever you have taken, you might have taken millions of births. You don't know. So all these births you have forgotten, but I did not forget. So that's what Krishna is saying, right? So basically, let's understand. Yeah, very good question. So basically, see, we need to identify who we are. So the example given by Srila Prabhupada is that we are qualitatively, you and the Supreme Lord are the same. Understand one more time. Qualitatively, we are the same, but quantitatively, we are different. Okay. So quantitatively, we are different. The example given is that about if you take 1 spoon of 1 katori of water from the ocean, that is you. That katori of water, that is you. The entire ocean is Bhagwan or Shri Krishna. So he is quantitatively so much. They again in Sanskrit they call Anu and Vibhu. Anu means small, infinitesimal entity we are, and Vibhu means infinite. So if we have memory, little bit of memory, he has got infinite memory. If we have little bit of physical strength, he has got infinite physical strength. If we have little bit of opulence, we are very beautiful, say. So we are beautiful, but we are little beautiful. He is beautiful infinitely, including when he came as Mohini, Shri Krishna has come as Mohini. Shiva also, who is a Vaishnava Nam Yatoshimbo. Basically, he is one of the very enlightened Vaishnava. Shiva. He also got tempted when he saw the Mohini Rupa, because his beauty is so much, right? So let's understand one thing. The point is that we are very minute. He is infinite, or for whatever comparison with respect to memory, etc. And why does he does not give you memory of your past life? Because he is very merciful. He doesn't want it to give, because if somebody gives you memory of your past life, you will become mad. Who you don't know who is your mother, who is your father. If you know, then you will just be bewildered. So out of mercy, he is not giving you memory, right? I don't know whether I answered that question, Mataji. Is that clear?
Yeah, okay, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So yeah. So
Prabhuji,
thank you.
my small doubt is Prabhuji.
Sure. Go ahead.
Prabhuji, we are just Krishna is Supreme Lord, so we all are believe that. But in Mahabharata period, no one is know that Krishna is Supreme Lord.
No. There are people who knew that he is Supreme Lord, including Dhritarashtra knew that he is Supreme Lord, because when Akrura, you know who is Akrura? Anybody knows who is Akrura?
Yes, Senapati, Kansa
Right.
Senapati.
So Kamsa Senapati, basically he came to pick up Balram and Krishna from Mathura also, and he was the person, and he was also doubting whether who is this person, and finally he believed that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. Later on he got to know. Now he went to Dhritarashtra. Akrura went to Dhritarashtra and told, you know who is Supreme, who is Krishna? Then Dhritarashtra said, yes, I know he is the Supreme Lord, but still I cannot give up my mind, or I'm not able to give up my nature of thinking that this entire land belongs to me. I do not want to share it with anybody. Only my sons should enjoy this. So this kind of an attitude Dhritarashtra had, and he knew that Krishna is Bhagavan, and Bhishma also knew that he is Bhagavan, and a lot many people knew that he is Bhagavan. Vidura knew that he is Bhagavan. So not just Arjuna, and Pandavas also knew that he is Bhagavan. See, when Draupadi Vastra was happening, she tried everywhere. Finally, whom did she call? She called only Krishna. You should read Bhagavatam Kunti prayers. Or a small book of Kunti prayers is also there. That is also one can read. So she says that very clearly, Krishna, you are the Supreme Lord, and she in the Kunti prayers she says that give us more difficulties, because when difficulties are there, you are with us. So give us more difficulties. She kind of prays like that. Okay. So yeah, everybody, almost not all, but at least some important people always knew that Krishna is the Lord. Yeah. Is that clear, Prabhu?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So can we move on then? So the next sloka is Dehinosmin yada de kaumaram yavvananjara tata dehantara pratir dhiras tatra namuhyate. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, soul similarly passes from another body at death. So basically the transmigration is what is happening. A sober person is not bewildered by such changes. So that's what is mentioned. Basically you are changing your body. It is like if suppose a shirt is there and it is worn out, what will you do? You will take another shirt. That is what is getting compared here. Can you mute Prabhuji, somebody? Okay. This is probably the last two other verses. Then we'll go ahead. Matra sparshastu kaunteya sitoshna sukha dukkada agama payino nityas tam tajiksha bharata. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance is due course are like appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. Okay, and they arise from sense perception, O Sion of Bharata, and the one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So this is a very important sloka in one way, because he is here saying that though you know me as a Supreme Lord, doesn't mean that the what do you say, happiness and distress will not come in your life. Just because you are my devotee doesn't mean that you will not get distressed, you will not get whatever. So there will be ups and downs in each and every person's life, right? So why I am saying this, because some people say that he was a such a good devotee, why did this happen to him? So doesn't mean that the devotees or somebody who is basically have faith in Supreme Lord Krishna, doesn't mean that you will not get any difficulties in your life. So that is what now what happened is that some people, especially from other religion communities, they kind of say that come to our prayers. When you come here, all your problems will be solved, and our God will take away all the problems, and you will be happy forever. So that is not what the fact is. Here Krishna is clearly saying that you have to tolerate. Tolerate is the word he is using. If you see here, where is he saying non-permanent disappearance? You go here, the last one, learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. So very important. In our life also, we will come across a lot of difficulties, lot of situations where we need to tolerate, right? So that's what one has to really do. And I wanted to also give you one example. Basically, probably I can run that video. See, a lot of times what happens is that when I do some of the counseling, I see that a lot of people come for problems with wife and husband. So they are not able to communicate properly, or there is not right kind of an understanding. So Srila Prabhupada talks about this in a very nice detailed way. So but with one precaution, I am going to run this particular video. So that because he is talking about something very drastically different than what you see in the mundane world or the society now. So I just wanted to run that video. Just let me run that video. It's a 2 minutes video. I just kept it for
goodness. Women, they are generally equipped with the qualities of passion and ignorance. And man also maybe, but man can be elevated to the platform of goodness. Woman cannot. Woman cannot be. Therefore, if the husband is nice and the woman follows, woman becomes faithful and chaste to the husband, then their both life becomes happy. There are three qualities of nature: Sattva, Raja, Tama. So, Rajastama, generally, that is the quality of woman. And man can become to the platform of goodness. Therefore, initiation, Brahminical symbolic representation is given to the man, not to the woman. This is the theory. Therefore, the combination should be that the husband first class devotee, Krishna conscious, And woman should be devoted to the husband. That's good. So that she would help the husband to make progress in Krishna consciousness. Then their both life is successful. Otherwise, if the husband simply becomes captivated by the charming beauty of woman and engages himself in the sex life, then his life is lost. And the woman, they are less intelligent. Unless they are guided by a proper husband, her life is also lost.
Okay, I know this is kind of a little brings out a little bit of controversial discussion, but still I'm open to discuss.
Prabhuji, voice is.
Oh, sorry. So why I kind of taken the risk, but sometimes I would prefer to put the facts in front of everyone so we can have the discussion, because I feel that this group fortunately is very matured enough to make to discuss this kind of topics. I would have, and not many places in ISKCON also this kind of topics are discussed, because it is because a lot of people now, I would not be surprised if some of the Matajis now hearing this would quit the group, because they feel that this is some kind of a degradation kind of a thing that one is speaking about. How could Srila Prabhupada speak like that about women? Because he is saying that here women and men are are different. They are saying they are not equal. That's what he's saying. But when you go outside, they call it as women's rights, where they are equal to men. But now here it is contrary to what the general perception or education that we have. So I want somebody to speak now. I know this is going to be little heated if we go beyond, but still, do we agree on this? I know, I don't know how to start also. Yeah. Does anybody?
Can I talk for a minute?
Yeah, sure, Mataji. Please
Yeah,
go ahead.
actually, maybe when he spoke, see, now even I don't agree with what he's told, but maybe when he was telling, it was like a time when women never had that chance of doing everything as a man could do. But now the situation is completely different. So probably those statements which he made are not applicable right now.
Very
So
good,
for that time, it was good.
Okay, I will keep that on hold now, whatever you just said, and we'll discuss it. Okay. Anybody else could wanted to comment?
Yeah, but Prabhuji, see, what I feel is what Prabhuji is trying to say is not in gender specific. It is more about the qualitative nature of the species. What he is talking about when he addresses men and women, it is more about the kind of a thought process or the control they exercise in day-to-day life. Is what he is talking about, the possible outcome or the possible outreach they will reach. So I don't think he would talk about a gender specific. Even at this stage, he was just talking about the human qualities which will make one to achieve the ultimate goal. The practice.
Okay, so let me put it one more time. I know this because if I am talking about general mundane kind of a thing which will not really impact your life, I wouldn't have brought this, because we need to understand it at a greater level. And there's a lot of misconception that is spread in our education system and in the society. So I'm not going to try to bias you. I am going to go as per the Shastra, what is there and what Srila Prabhupada has said, and then we'll discuss it. Maybe I'll spend 2-3 minutes more and then go ahead. Any other reaction from any other Mataji or Prabhuji?
Prabhuji.
Yeah, Suresh. Prabhu.
Suresh, sure, yeah.
Yes.
So
yes.
what I feel that like Bhagavad Gita is eternal and timeless. Similarly, any words coming out of from a disciplined guru like Srila Prabhupada Swami, so the words are also timeless compared to like just one Mataji said the words applicable to only that period, and it is not applicable now. So Gita is applicable even now, even after 1,000 years. Similarly,
got it, Prabhu.
Those words, yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
We'll discuss that. Good. I see. Yeah. You make your point. See, we are in a kind of a very healthy debate we are doing. It is not character assassination that we are doing. I played a video and we are trying to discuss and find out what is what, whether it is really a fact applicable then, not now, or what is it. So yeah, so let me continue that discussion by playing another video there. Same video, this is different video, but same topic. Okay, this is the video I'm going to play now. Jyoti Mataji, your question will be asked here. So just look at this.
This is natural.
Where do women fit into these four classes?
We'll explain. Women's position is subordinate to man. So, if the man is first class, the woman is first class.
Sorry, let me put the subtitles because somebody might not understand the accent. So here again, Mataji's, Prabhuji's, bit risky that I am taking. He says that women are subordinate to men. So if we manage first class human, so that's what I just run this one more time. I know I am taking a hell lot of risk, but still I wanted to bring this out and discuss.
Where do women fit into these four classes?
We'll explain. Women's position is subordinate to man. So, if the man is first class, the woman is first class. If the man is second class, the woman is second class. If the man is third class, the woman is third class. Because woman is meant for assisting man. So, the woman becomes suitable according to the man or husband.
Would you say that women are inferior to men?
Yes.
Why?
By physiological condition. It's like your bodily features are different from the man's features. You cannot deny. So according to the bodily features, the psychological condition and everything is there. How you can deny it?
Do you think that I'm inferior to
It is
you?
not the question of inferior or superior. Different. Now you take one inferior or superior, that is your calculation. But the bodily features are different. That is material. But spiritually, they are all one. Materially, it's like your bodily features and a man's bodily features different. Now, so far question of inferior, superior, that is your calculation. But we say that by nature, woman and man is different.
What does this mean as far as whether women can do the same things that men can do, whether women can lead people?
When a woman can bear children, but the man cannot. Is it possible to bear children? A man can become pregnant. Is it possible?
No.
Physically, therefore, there are so many things which is possible in man, which is not possible in woman. By nature, how we can say that they are of the same nature?
I'm not saying they're the same. What can...
Then if you're not saying that, then they're different in that physiological condition. So now, this physiological condition, you may calculate this is better or this is better, that is your calculation.
Okay, so I just wanted to stop here. but I just want you to contemplate on what Srila Prabhupada is mentioning. So we may not discuss more on this, but at the same time, let us understand one thing. See, the conception of people saying that men and women are equal, as Srila Prabhupada was also saying that they are different. Say physiologically they are different, their needs are different. So the equality that you are bringing unnecessarily giving turmoil in the society, in the family, and in other places also. So again, this can be diligently need to be discussed, not so easy thing. But if you see the Western society, what has happened is that in Western society it is very chaotic, and women are really are exploited like anything. I'll tell you, because I was there in US, and see, at least in India to some extent, at least I would not say entirely, but at least there is something called a marriage system, because that is because we follow a religion, and that gives us the religious need that one should have a married life to have any desires to be fulfilled. Dharma artha kama moksha, because this is as per the religious way you have to do. So that's what. But in US it is not like that. So I kind of have a relationship with somebody till the time I feel that my needs are getting satisfied with him or her, and after that change the partner. So it is like cats and dogs doing things. That's what they are doing. And in one way, women are supposed to keep their body much more fit and slim, and there is so much of cosmetic industry and fitness industry so much there, because if they don't keep their body fit and they don't look nice, now they are not getting attracted to the men, other men, because then they do not have a life. So this is a kind of a vicious circle that they have entered into. And abortion is very common there. They also feel that what is the need of children, and they kind of do a lot of sinful activities. So bottom line is this: as per as I am not again judgmental, and neither I have any opinion on this the per se, but what I see is that in the society and in the families, uh, if a wife is acting as a subordinate doesn't mean that it is a position which is demeaning per se. When you get when you have a marriage alliance that is sought, they always see that whether this boy is having a age difference of 4 or 5 years. Why do they see that? At least nowadays people do not care much. They are marrying a girl who is one way couple of years bigger than elder than the boy. But ideally, when they used to see the marriages, they used to see why they used to do that, because the girl has to be working under the supervision of or under the protection of the men. And Chanakya Pandit says that the women should always be in protection. When she is not married, under the protection of the father; when she is married, under the protection of the husband; and if husband is not there, their children, the boy or whatever, right? So that kind of things are being said in our shastra. So but now, because of whatever modern education we are taking, that is kind of not helping us to get this kind of a concept. And in your family, the situation most of the time it is because we are going into a lot of issues, because we are going for saying that I am, they don't know who is the head of the family. Because the situation is like way, kind of very volatile, because they don't want to decide who is the head of the family. Here it is clearly mentioned that head of the family is the man, and he should be under his protection. Everybody should be there. But now, because everybody has the right to work, etc., and earning potential, but still you are different. So if why I am saying all this is because if you wanted a family to be what do you say, happy, this is the ideal situation one has to bring in. How will you bring in, whether it is feasible or not, it's all up to you. Whether, but as per the Shastra, this is what is said, and Chanakya Pandit also said the same thing, and Srila Prabhupada is saying that. And our if you see our entire history of how women have already always been, they never occupied any high positions in the society. Like exceptions, one or two were there, like Indira Gandhi and etc. I'm not saying that they should not be given a very big positions, but point is that you are ideally supposed to take care of things. It's not a lower job, but still one has to find out what is the natural way that you can contribute to the society. And if you can contribute at your family level, that is the ideal thing that one can do to bring stability in the family. And that is what is missing, I feel. Again, one or two questions we will take, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, Swamiji, I agree with you.
Okay.
Shall I talk 2 minutes, 1 minute?
Yeah, sure, definitely, Mataji, go ahead.
Even though I am a working woman, I too felt, Swamiji, because if the women take the higher position or any doing the things for the organization or in a higher top level, she or he has to be given his out of 24 hours time to be given to the respective organization more than 18 hours or 17 hours, like Modi ji. When women will take such place, she will definitely neglect her family. If the family is not taken care, our family system of India will be really, I mean, what I mean to say that, I mean, agree with you that what Prabhupada ji said is absolutely true. Because when women,
Yes, Mataji, thank you. So actually, there was a classical case that has happened in ISKCON. In ISKCON, I might have sent that in the WhatsApp message, something called GBC. What Manikanta has asked one question, I think, and then I replied, or somebody who asked what is this ISKCON which is there in Jubilee Hills, like a temple, whether does it belong to ISKCON or not. Then I replied saying that there is something called GBC. It's a global bureau where representation from all over the world will be there, and they've asked, ISKCON is a global organization, why not women also be given a position in the GBC? That's a kind of thing. Then there was one place where women, one of the Matajis started taking higher positions in the ISKCON, and she became a temple president, and then etc. So what has happened is that it might be one exclusive case, but again things went so far that she has to take divorce also. So in ISKCON, this has happened. So what I'm trying to say is that again this has to be contemplated at an individual level. I am not qualified to really speak on this subject actually at all, not even 1% qualified, but still I felt that one has to really take care at a grassroots level and understand where we are coming from. Because most of the time what I felt is that the problems in the family are because women are trying to dominate the men, and they do not have the clarity who is the head of the family. You need to support your husband such that he takes up the whatever desires one has, to fulfill that he should be kind of supported, such that you see, it is like a family. When I say family, each one has got a role to play. It is not a big role or a small role, it is the role to play. So when we are playing a role to play, then we should not equate ourselves. What is big, what is small? Working at home, is it small work, or going to office, is it a big work? But it's not like that. It is basically who is naturally fit to do that job. Now when we were uncivilized, say, That time when people, and now also in jungles when tribal people are there, women generally take care of the kids in the huts wherever they are there, where men go and hunt and get whatever is required. Women do not go because they are naturally fit to do that. So similarly, we need to find out what will be naturally fit, and this egoism that is going on in the family. So I am sometimes, because there is a lot of counseling that come to me also, and I kind of say that but women should be submissive in the sense, do not have that kind of a mentality that, hey, what is there, you are also for earning salary, I am also earning salary, and we are equally earning salary, maybe 10,000 less, but still I am also earning. So this kind of an attitude will not give stability in the society, neither in the family. So one has to be very contemplative and find out how this can be taken care at your individual level. I know this is because it is our educational system has always been given equally to boys and girls, equally meaning they are said that same education. So there was no difference. You are always competing at your class level, at school level with boys. Now when you come to once you get married, again the same competitive spirit is here also. You are competing with your husband and yourself. So that kind of a thing. So yeah, I would not go much in detail now. So I think I made the point to trigger for you to contemplate and find out what best one can take from this particular inputs that have been provided. Okay, so we'll move on.
Prabhu,
Yeah, go ahead, Mata.
actually, I even heard before that, even I heard Prabhupada's video in class somewhere that actually women and men are given equal rights. It's just that women physically they are little bit strengthless. I mean, they are not that strong as men. So even the duties also given equally to them. According to the body, they are given the duties of the house and men outside.
That's right.
And
that's
what
saying.
I, yeah, but afterwards our ancestors and all, because of the half knowledge, they started saying that you are weak, so you have to sit at home like that. But in reality, actually, it's not that. Both are equal, and but the duties have been shared. That's it. And even I heard that soul, it has no gender. Actually, it's just that because of our karma, we are given the bodies. Like Prabhupada said in the video, materially you're different, but spiritually everybody is equal.
Mataji, we are discussing the problems at a material level only. So we are not discussing things at the spiritual level. At the spiritual level, if you see, there is nobody by gender, but like there is no men or women. Everybody is like they call it as Prakruti. We are all coming under Prakruti. That is the feminine character only. So all men and women all come under feminine character only. But when we are discussing some things where at a material level, where there are a lot of problems that we can see in the society, divorce rates are increasing, there is turmoil in the home, that though being in the same house, wife and husband do not speak to each other for so many days, and they are just the relationship is continuing because there is social pleasure. So somebody has to give some solutions to this, and we are trying to say from Vedic perspective how things were, and how much you wanted to take from it is all up to you. Up to you meaning all up to us. But ideally, as Srila Prabhupada has clearly mentioned without any hesitation, women should be subordinate to men. So, and how do you interpret that? It's up to you. But he is clearly mentioning that the women should be subordinate to men. Men meaning not to men outside. It is to the husband. That is what we are trying to. So, because
what he told, is it correct? Like, because of that physical and mental, whatever is given to the body to the female, so
that's
they are
true.
subordinate.
Right. See, you need to have protection. You need to have protection, right? Because from see, you have been given a say a woman body or a man body, but based on whatever has been your mindset at whatever, because we discussed, right? Whatever is our subtle body has impressions of the previous life, that one will carry, and based on that suitability only your next body is given. Again, in the next body, what men body or women body, it is decided based on that. So why we have any controversy on that? So one thing which is very clearly coming is that women, the best, for the best interest of the women should be in the subordinate position only. So once you do that, what will happen is that you are boosting the men, the husband. Yeah, men here means husband. You are boosting him, and you are making him, empowering him. So you are in a better position actually to empower him. So you are empowering him to take up the job, whatever job he is doing, in a way that he can be more successful. So you are playing a bigger role. I sometimes I see some movies, especially from Telugu movies, where earlier black and white Telugu movies, where Savitri's role used to be like that. She used to be like the homemaker, but she used to be in a very good position as a homemaker, but still as a subordinate to the husband. She used to, her character.
Behind the curtain hero, like behind the curtain.
Yeah. So because if you see the Kunti, she was a very powerful lady. Kunti, you see, but based on her, just by invoking, she could get children. How powerful she is. And you know how much again, we are not eligible to discuss about Radharani, but Radharani was also very powerful. You know what, when Kamsa when Kamsa thought that now Krishna is, now whenever I send somebody, Krishna is killing every demon that I send, so let me go and see. So when he went to Vrindavan, then Radharani was that is in the jurisdiction of Radharani. So he became a kind of a lady, like a girl who comes up, and now he doesn't know what to do. And when he begged mercy from Radharani, then he got the actual form. Then he left and never came back to Vrindavan. So that is the reason why he called Krishna and Balram to the Dwarka.
Prabhuji, కొన్ని సర్టెన్ కేసులలో వెన్ మనం ఇందులో చూద్దాం, యుధిష్ఠిరుడు జూదంలో ఆడేటప్పుడు ద్రౌపదిని పెడతాడు కదా ప్రభుజీ, అంటే సబార్డినేట్ అని, అక్కడ మిస్యూజ్ కూడా అవుతాయి కదా కొన్ని కేసులలో.
Prabhuji, misuse adi correcta kada, because they also have put themselves in the, see, the situation was that the Kshatriyas, when they call for any kind of a this kind of a games, they cannot say no, because that is against the Kshatriya nature. So they have to, and whatever, whenever they give everything to
దట్ ఇస్ ఇంజస్టిస్ కదా ప్రభు, ఉమెన్స్ ఇంజస్టిస్ కదా అది అట్లా పెట్టడం.
అది that's a different topic, Prabhu. So let's not go to exclusives. So
Prabhu, general doubt. Prabhu, general doubt. Like in video, Prabhupada said that the woman should marry the first class men. But in general view, what if a woman is married to a person who is not that well behaved?
Right. Very good.
How should
Very good
behave?
Very good question. So
should dominate taking responsibility.
So it is the duty of the wife to really, now here Srila Prabhupada also mentioning that it is duty of the wife to take care of the husband, to make him a first class devotee. When you make the husband first class, you will automatically become first class. It is a bigger role to play. It is not a small role to play. It is much more bigger responsibility for you. As a woman, you need to take care. So it's not an easy thing. If you feel that men have got in general, men have got an easy role to play, but women have to play a major role. That if you see a lot of Earlier, women used to be like that, very strong. They used to really take care of big families. Okay, so I will not discuss much, Mataji, Prabhuji. I have given you some things where you can investigate on your own and find out what is what, whether it is correct or not. It's all up to you. But this is what Srila Prabhupada has mentioned. We will discuss that in greater detail if you want. Be specific. Do not send anything on the WhatsApp group, because I do not want this topic to be escalated or fired up. But still I wanted to bring it because I feel that there might be some changes that can happen very positively with this understanding. But I don't know whether it has made any positive impact or a negative impact, but I wanted to propose, I have proposed. Okay, I will move ahead. Please do not ask any question regarding this now, because we'll complete this chapter. Can we extend this for 15-20 minutes more today? Is that
Yes,
okay with
definitely.
you?
Okay, Prabhuji.
Anybody
Yes.
has got any problem?
No problem.
No problem, right? Okay, so fine. So we will go ahead. So here it is mentioning that tolerate is what one has to do, and do not get bewildered when some situations happen, like too much happiness is there, so you just go beyond your this thing, and when is distress you kind of go down. So tolerate is what he's saying. For both happiness and distress you need to tolerate. Okay. Okay, here the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. So that is what he's saying. नासतो विदयो भावो न भावो विदयते सतः उभयोरपि दृश्यन्तश्च तम anasyo tattvadarshibah. Okay, those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal soul, there is no change. This they concluded by studying the nature of both. Okay, I'm little tired. Okay. Can somebody read this sloka, please? If anybody can try. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन् नैनं भूत्वा भविता वा भुवः अजो नित्या शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain with the body is slain. So that means here it mentions that the soul is always not going to die. And later on he will say that Krishna will say that it cannot be cut by any weapon. It cannot be dried by any air, and it cannot be withered by water, etc. So many things he'll tell. वाशांसि जीर्णानि यदा विहाय नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्णानि अन्यानि संयाति नवानि देहि. As a person puts a new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts the new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. So this is how the reincarnation happens. From one body to another body, you kind of take the birth. I think 2 more slokas and we will complete this part. नैनं चिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनं दहति पावकः न चैनं क्लेदयन्तापो न शोषयति मारुतः. The soul never be cut to pieces by any weapons, nor burned by fire, nor moistured by water, nor withered by wind. That's what we, because that's a characteristic of the soul. जातस्ति हि यो ध्रुयो मृत्युर ध्रुवं जन्मामृतस्य च तस्मादपरिहार्येर्ते न त्वं शोचयति अर्हसि. One who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in this unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. See, sometimes people, when you have this kind of a spiritual knowledge, you are not afraid of death. Because what is there, if this body is gone, another body you will get. So there is nothing to really worry about. So there is no fear of death. That doesn't mean that you act recklessly and take dangers on you, but still you are not feared of death. So that is the kind of a, sometimes people become bold because of this kind of knowledge. So the very important topic that we are going to discuss next is the 2 duties one has to do. Any doubts so far? Okay. So here one of the things that we have discussed is the identity. We have said that you are not this material body, you are spirit soul, and he has described the characteristics of the soul. And he Shri Krishna also mentions that but what, how does this soul in fact he has given in greater details, saying that what is the size of the soul. The size of the souls is also mentioned, saying that it is the 10,000 part of it in the tip of the hair. That means what is the size of the soul? It is mentioned in the Shastra. If you take your hair tip and cut it into 100 parts, and take that 100th part piece and again cut it into 100 parts, that would be the size of the soul, and it is very close to the heart. It is there, and that is the reason why when somebody says when you wanted to point about yourself, you will point only here. You will not say who I means, you will say here only. So when it is very close to the heart, it is there. And at the same time, the soul consciousness is spread all over the body. The soul consciousness is spread all over the body, but it stays very close to the heart. That's what is mentioned about the soul. And the next T in Gita is the 2 duties that you need to perform. One may then ask how such knowledge practically affects our day-to-day life in the real world. Krishna addresses this in delineating the 2 essential duties of the spirit soul. So very important, 2 duties that one has to perform. Very important. Just understand. If you have any questions, we can discuss. Dharma loosely translates as duty, but in a deeper sense refers to intrinsic characteristic and qualities of something that cannot be avoided, neglected, or negated under any circumstances. Okay, can somebody remember the previously what I have given example of dharma? I've given an example of dharma in the not in the these classes, but in my DYS classes. Somebody has got. Yeah.
Sugar is sweet. It is
Okay. Very good. Thank you. So the dharma is basically here. If you see, understand what it is saying. The dharma loosely translates as duty, but in the deeper sense refers to intrinsic characteristics and qualities of something that cannot be avoided, neglected, or negated under any circumstances. Say if you say what is the dharma of fire? The dharma of fire is that it will give you light, because that is the intrinsic characteristic of that fire, and also it will give you heat. Light and heat is the intrinsic characteristic, and wherever you go, take whether it this can you mute Mataji, somebody, Prabhuji? Okay, so if you go and take this fire, whether it is in India, Pakistan, or US, or Britain, anywhere, the characteristic will not change. That is what is dharma. When you talk about sugar, when you talk about sugar, it is gives you sweetness. Whether you are here or anywhere else, it is the same. So that is what dharma means. And for us as a human being, we also have a dharma, and there are 2 kinds of dharmas that he is talking about. Firstly, the soul has the swadharma, a worldly duty which consists of responsibilities towards family, friends, and society. Okay, so this is called swadharma, the worldly duty which consists of responsibilities towards the family, friends, and society. So you yourself should ask, what is your swadharma? When as a wife, what is your swadharma? As a husband, what is your swadharma? You need to ask. And now based on that, you need to make decisions. See, as the breadwinner for the family is the husband. So if he is not in a position to really earn that, or whatever it is, based on your desire, needs, etc., etc., then things may change. But as per the responsibility wise, that is what it is. Swadharma, his swadharma is to earn and get, and his swadharma is to protect the family. So similarly, I'm just talking from a mundane example. The worldly duty which consists of responsibility towards the family and friends and society. That is Swadharma. So secondly, the soul has a Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma, an eternal spiritual duty which comprises of one's relationship with God, nature, and all spirit souls. So there are two different things. Now, when you talk about what Srila Prabhupada said, just find out in which category it is coming. He is more talking towards the family, which is Swadharma category, whatever he is talking about. Sanatana Dharma, everybody has the same Sanatana Dharma, whether it is a man, woman, everybody has got the same Sanatana Dharma, that we need to have an eternal spiritual duty, which comprises of one's relationship with God, nature, and all spirit souls. There is no man or woman here, but I think from a Swadharma perspective, there can be you can find out what is what based on the needs. Okay, this is what I equal rights women interviewing Srila Prabhupada. That's what. Okay, I'm a little tired today, so I don't know a lot of slokas I need to speak. I may not take a lot of slokas to be read, but these are some of the important slokas. So I will only go with the purports, maybe in greater details later on. So you can go through it. So basically, because of the lack of time, I am not going through, and you can go through the these slokas. Yeah, somebody can read if you want. At least the if not sloka, at least the what is the translation. Yeah, please. Mataji, go ahead. Pramila Mataji.
Shloka, I have the Telugu. Shall I read shloka first?
Yeah, if you want, you can read. No issues.
Agnyascha Sraddha, sorry, 40.
2.4. You keep it ready. I'll read this one. Next one you can read. Neha bibrikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpamapi asya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. So this path which you are going to take, the spiritual path, really whatever small incremental advancement that you do will really protect you from the most dangerous type of fear. So you can overcome fear because you are working at a spiritual level or a spirit level. So that is what it is talking about. Mataji, can you 2.41 can you read? Can you read the sloka?
Vyavasayatmika buddhirekeha kuru nandana bahushakagnan buddhayo vyavasayinam.
Very good, Mataji. Translation? It's in Telugu.
Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched.
Okay. So what are we discussing here? We are discussing about our dharma. So when we have taken up saying that this is what I wanted to do, you should be irresolute. So that's what. So irresolution comes when you can take care of your mind. So that's what we will see. Okay. Yeah, Mataji, next one, please. Anybody who wanted can also read if you are okay. Yeah, Mataji, you can if you want.
भोगैश्वर्य प्रसक्तानां तया अपहृत चेतसां व्यवसायात्मिका बुद्धिः समाधौ न विधीयते.
Okay. The translation, Mataji.
I have the Telugu one, Swamiji. English
Okay.
one I didn't.
I can read that. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Very important sloka, because in the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment. See, here it is saying that too attached. See, it doesn't say that you should not have any enjoyment, whatever. It has to be done as per the limits. So too attachment to the sense enjoyment and material opulence. Too much material opulence also, you need to have as much as you want, not too much. 'Cause that will really, if you have too much attachment to the sense enjoyment and material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord will not take place, right? So that is what one should be very careful when you have. So you have to limit yourself for how much you wanted to with respect to your sense enjoyment and material opulence. Okay. Traigunya, you wanted to read, Mataji?
Yeah, Swamiji, I will read it. Both I
Yeah.
will read. त्रैगुण्य विषया वेदा निस्त्रैगुण्यो भवार्जुन निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्य सत्त्वस्थो निर्योगक्षेमात्मवान्.
Okay, so the Vedas deal mainly with the subject of three modes of material nature. So anybody knows what are these three modes of material nature?
Sattva, Tamo, Rajoguna.
Yes, so all the three gunas, that is what he's talking about: Sattva, Raja, and Tamoguna. So these are the three gunas we come here and get contaminated with, and one has to try to come out of this Tamoguna and go and also go beyond the Rajoguna and go to Sattva Guna. And once you are in the Sattva Guna, that is the platform which will help you for your spiritual development. And from Sattva Guna, you need to go to Suddha Sattva. That means you need to overcome all the three material modes of nature and then go to Suddha Sattva. So that is what be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in self. Okay.
47. कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफल हेतुर्भुः मा ते संगोऽस्त्य कर्मणि.
Okay, Mataji. I think we have two more. Okay, one more. The last one. Yeah, go ahead, Mataji. This one also.
योगस्था कुरु कर्माणि संगं त्यक्त्वा धनञ्जय सिद्धि असिद्ध्यो समो भूत्वा समत्वं योगो उच्यते. Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga.
Okay, so this is what a very important sloka. Here it is mentioning that don't get attached to the success or failure. So whatever is coming, you just take it. This is called yoga. Yoga means being stable in one way, equipoised. So with respect to the duty that he is talking about. Okay, so that is what the next verse, the next book in Gita, it talks about if you perform your duty equipoised and also not getting attached to the sense objects, too much attached to sense objects or opulence, too much attached to the opulences, etc. When you work in that kind of, or you perform your duties in that way, but your Swadharma properly and your Sanatan Dharma properly, then what will happen is what is giving in the next here in the Gita, the last acronym, Atma Rama stage. So you will attain this kind of a state. That's what he's saying. What is the result of someone who performs such duties with determination and enthusiasm? See, this calls for, it will not automatically come to you. You have to do things with determination and enthusiasm. And we will see today what are the kind of things that one can do to attain this particular what do you say, this kind of a state. So such a person becomes an Atma Rama, a spiritually realized soul who finds pleasure in the self. So you will have pleasure in yourself. That means you will experience the true joy or happiness. Okay, Krishna explains how the Atma Rama is unaffected by happiness or distress, gain or loss, honor or dishonor. So that is what an Atma Rama person will experience. In one way he is describing this Stita Prajna state also in one way, but they are very close. Transcending the dualities of this world, such spiritualists rids himself of the qualities such as fear, attachment, anger, and remains absorbed in the spiritual delight and transcendental consciousness. That is what you will be attaining. So I think we are done with the Atma Rama stage also. There is one sloka, two slokas that are there. So that I will not go through today. But this is what he's talking about. So basically, when you go into this kind of a Atma Rama stage, you will not get bewildered by, you will not get anger and all that he was mentioning. That is what he's talking about more in detail. But I will kind of do an overview about these things one more time when we come in the next class. But today I'll just conclude and also go with the diagram that I have shown you. Okay, so let's discuss this one. If you also have a soft copy, you can remove that, you can have it. Okay, so based on the Bhagavad Gita, whatever we have seen chapter 2, the decision making and desire execution process, how it can be done is what I have put here. Suppose you have a desire, and first of all, if you have a desire, you need to find out whether you have a mentor or a guide for you. Mentor or a guide, ideally it is good that you have a mentor or a guru who is physically able to support you, or at least have the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita and then proceed. That is what here we are talking about. The identify the mentor and guru. You have slokas from 1 to 10 slokas of chapter 2 is talking about guru and the importance of the guru and how one should have how to identify a guru, and also once you have a guru, you need to take his shelter and become his disciple. Okay, so that's what he's talking about. So first stage is that if you have a desire or you are wanted to take something, just have a guru. The next is that identify yours, who you are, that you need to identify. Once you identify who you are, then you go and do a detailed analysis of the desire based on your dharma. Here if you see, now first of all you need to write down what the desire is, because you already have this PDF I have sent you. If it is not visible, you can take out that PDF and then see that. State the desire. What do you want? Why do you want it? What would be the state of the world when your desire is fulfilled? Because you are keeping your end in mind. Do you have the personal capacity to take it up? Sometimes you wanted to know whether you have the personal capacity or not. Your guru may also help you, and your self-identification, self-analysis can also help you here. Okay, and tentative start date and completion date for that. Okay, do you have any required resources to support this desire? So basically you kind of this I might have given more from a corporate perspective. I might have given this, may not be related so much when you are taking up some other things, but some things if you are not applicable, you can just ignore. Okay, do you have all the required desired details that you wanted to fulfill? If not, just find out everything and then come back here. If when you have it, then you need to identify whether it's a material desire or a spiritual desire. When it is a material desire, will this positively impact the relationship with my family, friends, and society? Just find out. Because it might be a material desire, but whether it is this material desire will help in your relationship with your family, friends, and society, then only take it up. If not, what is the use? If it is not, then it is a paradharma, because you drop the desire. Okay, and similarly here, when it is spiritual also, sometimes it may not be will that positively impact your relationship with the God, nature, and the spirit souls? If it is not impacting positively, though you are calling it as spiritual, then it is not your Sanatan Dharma. You just have to throw it as paradharma and then leave that particular desire. If it is yes, it is a Swadharma, then perform the conditional duties, your Swadharma, with determination, as it is mentioned in the slokas. With the determination one has to do, and not get bewildered with the ups and downs. And when you come across some hurdles, you need to have the resolute, but to do it in a proper way, not like people we have seen in the first class, how to attain whatever you want, you kind of go and do the improper things to attain your goals. That one should not do. Do it in a proper way to attain your goals, maybe material goals also. Then that will lead you to an Atmarama state, because whether it is material also, when you, because one will have material goals also, because being in a you are with your family, friends and society, so you have. So similarly here, when perform the constitutional duties, here it is perform conditional duties, here you are doing constitutional duties, that is Sanatan Dharma, and then attain there. Okay, that's all I have. I might have gone beyond my permitted time. Any questions so far? Ideally we wanted to do some question answers. If you permit, we can do couple of question answers. Is that okay with the time? We are maybe 5 minutes, it will take 5 to max 6 minutes. Is that okay? Okay.
Yes.
So let's take up, these are more coming from the Bhagavad Gita purport as well as from the Bhagavad Gita. If you have not read, then also you might guess, but let's see. What is the material compassion compared in Bhagavad Gita in 2.1? Material compassion is compared with what? Can use the chat if you want. Can do you wanted to use chat or just speak out? Anybody, any guesses?
D, Prabhu. D.
D. Okay. Material compassion in, okay, D. Fire covered by smoke, saving the dress. You said D?
Prabhuji, D.
Okay, that may not be correct. Okay, any next guess, please?
A, Prabhu.
A is also not correct. So two have gone.
B, Prabhuji.
C.
B.
C,
Prabhuji.
That's right. Material
B.
compassion is basically, it was clearly mentioned. The example was also given. Saving
No
the dress
answer
of
పెట్టవట్లేదురా.
Mataji, Parmila Mataji.
Sorry,
Okay,
sorry.
no problem. So the B is the right answer. So the three phases of absolute truth are compared to dash. I've given this example.
Sun, Prabhuji. A, sun.
Yeah. So I think everybody got that answer. Okay, who is an Aryan?
C.
C, Prabhu.
Okay, good. Others, please participate. Okay, one who knows the value of life, one who has the spiritual realization. That's what Krishna is initially was speaking about. Aryan. Why, according to Krishna, would Arjuna become infamous by not fighting?
Again, C, Prabhuji.
C, Prabhu. Both A and B.
That's right. So we have 4 more questions to go. We'll quickly do that. What Arjuna considers sinful?
B.
D,
Feeling
Prabhuji.
superior.
D.
A, superior. A, superior. A,
Yeah, how
Kill
many say?
his mother.
Yeah, so
A,
A is the
Prabhuji.
answer. Killing is superior because everybody is superior. Why Arjuna realizes he is confused and lost his composure?
B.
B, Prabhuji.
B,
B, Prabhuji.
B.
Good. B. Miserly weakness.
B, Prabhuji.
Yes. Finally, Arjuna accepts Krishna as his
D, spiritual
Spiritual
master.
master.
A.
Spiritual master.
Disciple.
Spiritual master.
Krishna and the living entities dash are eternal.
C. C. Spirit.
C, Prabhuji.
The
Spirit.
spirit Okay, can you think about it again?
B.
Scriptures.
A, Prabhuji, A. Individuality.
Yes. Krishna and
Individual, aren't.
individually are eternal. Individually they are. See why this
Individuality.
can somebody
A.
background. See, because there are some people who will say that now I am in now I am here. When I do some meditation and this and that, now I'll merge into the into God. That is not correct. Okay, so you are always individual souls. You will be individual, and you and God are different, and we are all individually different, and we will remain to be individual, and God will also be individual. So that one should be very clear. How is Krishna individually not material? How Krishna's individuality not material? Okay, maybe this is answer.
C. Option C.
Why a self-realized soul is not bewildered by changing body from boyhood to old age and then to death?
B.
D. Option D.
D.
Okay, that's correct.
Undergo any change.
Spirit soul doesn't undergo any change. Okay, so what I want you to do is that some good takeaway points from chapter 2. Please read, take some time, probably 3-4 days time, and give your takeaway points by reading the Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, important slokas. Try to recite them, and if you can also recite some of them in the class, we will provide some time where you can also, like as we did yesterday, so that kind of exercise we can do, because the second chapter is very important because it summarizes a lot of things. Important slokas have come. That would be really good. So two things. One is that pick up some slokas that you can recite nicely. Nicely meaning relative. It's up to whatever way it is, it's fine. And second thing is that summarize some good important points for yourself, and then send it across in the WhatsApp group. That will also be really help. Any questions, doubts, etc. also can be posted there. Today, before we end, anything that you would like to have a doubt or any clarification before we end today? Next chapter would be Karma Yoga, the third chapter that we will discuss next week. And the class timing also we have to find out. Can we are we planning to do it on Saturdays, or we are dropping on Saturdays, or for me it is open. I can do Saturday and Sunday. Some Acharya Prabhuji has told that 5:30 is ideal for him. Can we do it at 5:30, or is it difficult for Matajis because they have to take care of household things?
Since it is quarantine, 4 is ideal time, Prabhuji. Later we can change, but 4 to 5:30 is ideal time.
Okay. Okay. How about
Prabhuji,
the others?
Prabhuji, on Saturdays, especially on Saturdays, if you could, just push it to 5 or 5:30 only on Saturdays. I think Sunday, whatever time is fine actually. But again, I'll go with the majority. Whatever majority says, I'll still squeeze out some time. Yeah.
Okay, Mataji, is that okay for Saturday? We can go at 5 or 5:30, and the rest of the Sunday we'll retain it at 4. Me okay for you?
Okay, Ji.
Okay, so others also fine then?
Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay, I feel then Saturday we will do it at 5:30, and we might do it for 1 hour only, 5:30 to 6:30. We do not want to stretch this too much. That way we are not so, because the retention also becomes difficult. Okay, 1 hour we'll do 5:30 to 6:30, and 4 to 5:30 is fine because we are starting early. So, and that is on Sunday, so that should be fine. Okay, anything else? Any other question before we end this call today?
Prabhuji, one more, like just a suggestion. Like if everybody is having a public holiday and that if that permits you also, then probably we can connect on that day also if everybody is interested.
Right. So I would say that if it is a public holiday, you take up the Bhagavad Gita book and read more. So don't depend on my classes more, because depend on you taking initiative of reading, and I would suggest that way, because that would be really
Yes, Prabhuji.
helping. Please do that.
Yes,
And we
Prabhuji.
down the line we can do that. Actually, there are few every class I wanted to practice one Vaishnava song for you, because there's a lot of good Vaishnava songs are there, and because bhakti also comes when you hear it's bhakti starts from Shravanam Kirtanam. Shravanam means when you listen. So listening to these Vaishnava songs will also give you a lot of bhakti. That's my personal experience. So I would say that next week onwards, small Vaishnava song we will sing, and you can also just follow, because I have already given you the Vaishnava song book, so you can practice it later, and also while I'm singing you can also see the lyrics, etc. Okay, so anything else? That's all. So we will end with 2 minutes of kirtan. So unmute your mute all your this thing, because there is a lot of disturbance coming when you because there is no sync. I will just sing, please, for just 1 or 2 minutes max. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Naam Sankirtan ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna to everyone. So we will meet next week, Saturday, 5:30 would be the time that we will be doing the next class.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.